Kathy. I am a registered dietitian, yoga teacher, and a new mom. And this is part 2 of my vegan breastfeeding video. And I thought that in this video, I'd actually share some of the nutrients to consider. And because I'm working with a 7-week-old, she is going to be making appearances frequently, and my videos will probably be a little bit different just because her needs are, most important. And so we will try to get through this video as seamlessly as possible, and we'll see how it goes. So I have the top 9 things to consider when you are breastfeeding, specifically as a vegan, but a lot of these concepts still apply to anyone who is exclusively breastfeeding in general. So many of these nutrients are included in your prenatal, which is why I recommended in my last video to continue taking a prenatal while you are breastfeeding, and also make sure that you are eating enough food in general. But then, of course, stay until the end, and I am going to be sharing the one nutrient that is mandatory for supplementing if you are exclusively breastfeeding, whether you are vegan or not. So without further ado, let's get into my top 9 nutrients for consideration. Now, protein on a vegan diet is already something that a lot of people talk about, and the only reason I included it is because I wanted to bust any myths. And really, the recommendation is to maintain your level of protein intake from your 2nd and 3rd trimesters, which is roughly 70 to 100 grams of protein. So if you are eating enough food and focusing a little bit heavier on beans and tofu and that kind of stuff, then you will be easily meeting your needs for protein. The second nutrient that I want to talk about is one that's a little bit more uncommon, and it's actually iodine. Iodine is something that most people don't supplement, and it's found in some prenatal vitamins and some multivitamins, but you have to really look for it, which is why I wanted to bring it up here. The American Thyroid Association actually recommends 150 micrograms for breastfeeding women, which is roughly a half to 3/4 of a teaspoon of iodized table salt. Now, the important thing here is to note that anything that doesn't say iodized on it is most likely does not have iodine in it, or we can't be sure of how much. So the things like, sea salt and Himalayan pink salt and all these more higher end salts that you see on the market nowadays, we can't be reliant on them for having sufficient iodine. That being said, another really good source of iodine is sea vegetables, and these have lots of iodine in them, so just be mindful of how much you are consuming. But iodine is a big one that plays a really important role in thyroid health, so it's important that you definitely get enough iodine in your diet. All right, and number 3 is calcium. This one's a big one, even during pregnancy. So calcium, the recommendation for calcium is 1,000 milligrams a day. And if you're not drinking cow's milk or eating dairy, a lot of people wonder where you can get calcium from. Now, it's quite easy to meet your calcium needs on a vegan diet if you are eating a variety of whole plant foods. The 2 biggest sources are if you have calcium set tofu, which you can just look in the ingredients of your tofu to see how much calcium is in it. And then your dark leafy green vegetables, huge amounts of calcium in there. The big one though with the darker leafy greens is to make sure to slightly steam them a little bit. This breaks down some of the cell walls and some of the other nutrients in those grains in order to allow the calcium to be more bioavailable. There are some nutrients in leafy greens that actually can prevent the absorption of calcium. So you just want to make sure that you eat lots and lots of greens, but also to steam them slightly so that they're more bioavailable. If you do consume dairy, if you're not vegan, you're plant-based or flexitarian, limiting your intake of cow's milk may reduce the likelihood of colic in a baby. Dairy can be a little bit upsetting to newborn digestive systems that don't quite work up to par yet. And so, limiting dairy as much as you possibly can and getting more of those plant-based sources can help ease the gas and bloating in baby and potentially help prevent colic. All right, number 4 is a big one that's talked about during pregnancy, and that is folate. And again, if you're continuing your prenatal, you'll be meeting those needs no problem. And that recommendation is 500 micrograms daily. And so if your prenatal doesn't quite have that much, don't worry. If you're eating, plenty of beans and green vegetables, you'll be getting your folate as well. Number 5 is zinc. Zinc is a big one, especially for the immune system. And the RDA for zinc is 12 milligrams a day. Zinc can be found in nuts and seeds. Specifically, pumpkin seeds are a really good source of zinc. But they can also be found in your whole grains and your beans and all those whole plant foods, which is why it's, again, an importance to get a variety of whole plant foods. Then number 6 is your omega-3s. Again, another one talked about highly during pregnancy, and during breastfeeding, you want around 200 to 300 milligrams of DHA specifically per day. And as a vegan, this can be done easily through a microalgae supplementation. But when you are looking for your supplement, look for DHA specific and not just omega-3s. Your body can convert plant-based omega-3s, which are in the form of ALA, into DPA, which is the more recommended form. But it's a very involved process and it's not very efficient. So it is recommended, especially while breastfeeding, to actually take a supplement to make sure that baby's brain development is strong and healthy, which is what DHA is good for. But the next one is iron. Iron stores, you've now given birth, lost a lot of blood, and iron is definitely huge. Iron can be found in a lot of plant sources, especially through beans and legumes and lentils. However, it's a little bit harder to absorb. So when you eat those things, make sure to combine it with a source of vitamin C, like bell peppers or a squeeze of lemon or any fresh fruit or vegetable. And that will just help your body to absorb that iron that's found in beans. However, the RDA is 9 milligrams for mom, and iron is stored in baby up until about 4 to 6 months of age, which is when they'll start eating solids, which is when you might need a supplement for baby at that point, or make sure you're getting plenty of iron fortified foods during that time. But for now, we're just talking about breastfeeding, and so we're focusing on mom here. And just know that iron in breast milk is absorbed very easily by the baby, and so making sure that your prenatal either has a supplement of iron in there, or just focus on getting plenty of that quality protein sources, which tend to also have plenty of plant-based iron as well. Again, adding a little bit of fresh produce with that meal to make sure it's more bioavailable for your body. All right, number 8 is B12. B12 is necessary for nerve function and brain health and spine health and all that good stuff, and especially blood as well. So again, it's found a lot of times in the prenatal vitamins. So if you're taking that, you're good. But we're looking at around 25 micrograms a day. So it's not very much, but it makes a big difference. If you eat fortified foods regularly, so things like plant-based milks or cereals and that kind of thing, then you might not need to worry about it, but it has to be a regular intake of fortified foods. Otherwise, definitely supplement with B12 and make sure to get this level checked at your annual appointment just to make sure that your levels are healthy. All right, and we've made it to number 9. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, first of all. But the big one for exclusively breastfeeding moms, the only nutrient that is not that greatly transferred to baby through breast milk is vitamin D. And of course, baby's sensitive skin, we don't want them out in the sunshine. So vitamin D supplementation is mandatory, basically. So baby only needs 400 international units or IUs of vitamin D daily. They come in little drops, and you can just drop it on your finger and with a clean finger and just kind of rub it in their gums, or you can add a drop right onto the nipple right before they feed, and they can get the vitamin D that way as well. But that is a big one. Vitamin D is important for immunity, bone development. It plays a role in more things than we even know yet. And it's not found very highly in breast milk. So very, very important to supplement with vitamin D for any exclusively breastfeeding mom, vegan or not. That is all that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed these 9 nutrients to consider while breastfeeding. If you'd like any more details on these individual nutrients, or if you have any further questions, let me know in the comments below. And of course, subscribe, like this video if you liked it, and hit that bell for the notifications for any upcoming videos. I do read any comments, and I always try to comment back. So if there's something that you would like to know about nutrition for infants, newborns, toddlers, breastfeeding, let me know. I am continuing to make these videos to support all the busy moms out there, because I hear you, I feel you, and I just want to support you in your nutrition and your baby's nutrition as best that I can. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.